Everyone ready for this? We're going deep on UAPs today.
UAPs, yeah.
You know, all those unidentified aerial phenomena we hear about.
Right.
We've got this big declassified report we're looking at today, the AARO Historical Record Report.
Huge report.
Really lays out the history of the U.S. government looking into UAPs.
Oh, yeah. Goes all the way back to 1945, it does.
So this is like your cheat sheet to, like, decades of research and investigations.
Exactly. It really brings it all together in one place.
We've got secret projects, crazy sightings, enough to make anyone a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, but we're going to stick to the facts.
We're gonna try.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of this stuff is just wild.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of people know about, like, Project Blue Book, right?
Yeah, Blue Book. That's the one everyone's heard of.
But there's so much more to this story.
Oh, so much more. You got to understand, like, the context of all this, right? Like, when these programs started, it was the Cold War.
Right. Totally different world.
Super tense times. Any weird thing in the sky, people thought it was the enemy.
Right, like the Soviets are coming.
Exactly.
So let's rewind. Okay, 1947.
Okay. 1947.
Pilot, Kenneth Arnold. He's flying near Mount Rainier.
Mount Rainier.
And he sees these 9 shiny objects, like, zipping across the sky.
Oh, I know this story.
And he's the one who calls them flying saucers.
And that just stuck.
It stuck.
Yeah.
And that kicked off Project Saucer, like the first big UAP investigation.
The OG UAP investigation.
The OG. Then just a year later, we've got Project Sigyn.
Project Sigyn, 1948.
More formal, looking into hundreds of reports.
Hundreds, yeah.
Now, get this. They actually thought some of these UFOs could be extraterrestrial.
Oh, yeah, they did. Can you imagine if that got out back then?
Total chaos.
Seriously. But they did end up saying that most of the sightings were normal stuff, you know, weather balloons, misidentified planes.
They couldn't explain everything.
Not everything, no.
And that just fueled the fire, right? People's imaginations went wild.
Totally. So in comes Project GOGU in 49, trying to debunk stuff, calm everyone down.
Damage control. But then we get Project BLE book.
The big one.
1952 to 1969. That's a long time.
Longest running program they had.
Over 12,000 sightings investigated.
12,000?
They explained most of them, but over 700 remained unidentified.
Wow, 700.
That's a lot of question marks.
That is. But just because they couldn't figure it out doesn't mean it's aliens.
True. True.
Could be tech limitations, bad data, or just some things are unexplainable.
Yeah, some things just are.
Right.
Okay, but there's more to this time period.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Project Twinkle. That was all about chasing those green fireballs people were seeing in the Southwest.
The green fireballs, fascinating.
And the CIA was involved, too.
Oh, yeah, they were keeping an eye on all this UFO stuff.
National security and all that.
They
They even had that Robertson panel in '53.
Right, to like downplay the whole thing.
Public education and all that.
Exactly.
Makes you wonder what else they might have been thinking behind closed doors.
I know, right?
But okay, let's move on. UAP investigations didn't just stop after Blue Book.
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, late 60s, the University of Colorado got involved, did this big review called the Condon Report.
The Condon Report.
They said most sightings were just normal things or misidentifications.
So back to square one. Kinda.
In a way, yeah. But then, fast forward to the 2000s, things get really interesting.
That's when we get AWSEP and ATIP.
ATIP, yeah, that's the whole story on its own.
Right. It started with a senator looking into advanced aerospace threats. Which makes sense. Tech was changing so fast.
Makes sense, but ATIP went in a different direction.
Oh, yeah. How so?
They got mixed up with this private company, and they were doing research on, like, paranormal stuff and alien material.
Wait, paranormal activity? Like ghosts and stuff?
That's right, and they were analyzing materials supposedly from UAP crashes.
Like pieces of alien spaceships?
That's what they claimed.
Wow, so why did ATIP get shut down in 2012 then?
Good question. Some say they couldn't prove any of it, you know, no concrete evidence. Others say it got too controversial.
Yeah, I could see that.
Mixing science and speculation probably got a lot of unwanted attention.
But the government didn't just give up on UAPs, did they?
Nope, not at all. 2020, we got the UAP task force, trying to make reporting better, get more organized.
More organized? Good.
Right. And get this, they actually helped identify those Chinese spy balloons.
Oh yeah, those were a big deal.
Real world impact right there.
So even if they weren't finding aliens, they were finding important things.
For sure.
And now we're up to AARO, started in 2022.
AARO.
And they seem to be looking at a lot more than just the sky.
Yeah, much broader focus. Anomalies in air, space, the sea, even cyberspace.
They're covering all the bases.
They are.
But what about those claims we always hear, you know, about the government hiding alien technology?
Oh, yeah, those are always out there.
Does this AARO report address any of that?
It does, actually. They really dug into those claims.
Like full-on investigation.
Yeah, interviewed people claiming to have insider info about these secret programs.
So people are saying the government has alien spaceships tucked away somewhere.
Some people say that, yeah, get very specific too.
Like what?
One guy claimed there was this secret organization controlling 12 recovered spacecraft.
12.
Intact.
Some of them, yeah. Dating back to before 1970, he said.
That's wild.
It is. But AARO looked into it, followed every lead, and found no evidence to support it.
No hidden hangars full of alien tech.
Not that they could find.
Bummer.
I know, right? But there's more.
There's more.
Yeah, there was this claim about a former military officer who said he touched an alien craft.
He touched it. Where?
In some secret facility, supposedly.
Wow.
But AARO found him, and it turns out he was talking about an F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter.
A stealth fighter.
Back then, that was like the most advanced thing ever. Someone who didn't know what they were looking at could easily mistake it.
Wow, so it could all be just misunderstandings.
Could be, yeah. It's amazing how our perception changes with what we know, right?
Totally. Okay, but there's also this claim about a White House study on disclosing alien life.
Oh, right, that one.
Sounds pretty official. The study was real. It looked at what would happen if we found aliens. But AARO confirmed it wasn't actually sponsored by the White House.
So not as official as it sounded.
Nope.
Okay, last one. I gotta ask about this. The claim about special forces loading stuff onto an alien spacecraft.
That's a good one.
Like straight out of a movie.
It does sound like that, doesn't it? AARO is still looking into it, but so far, no evidence to back it up.
So maybe just a story.
Maybe.
Okay, so we've talked about some pretty crazy claims.
We have.
But the report also talks about this piece of metal from a crashed alien spacecraft.
Oh, right, the metal sample.
What's the story there?
This private UAP group said it was extraterrestrial, even tried to recreate it.
So did AR analyze it?
They did, and it turned out to be a normal Earth alloy, magnesium, zinc, bismuth, that kind of stuff.
Not alien at all.
Nope.
So maybe a lot of these claims are just people misunderstanding what they're seeing.
That's what the report suggests. A lot of these people were convinced these secret programs existed.
But they didn't really have the full picture.
Yeah, right. Maybe overheard something, saw something they didn't understand, and then filled in the blanks with assumptions.
It's easy to do that.
It is, especially with all the alien stuff in pop culture.
Speaking of which, the report says pop culture and technology might be shaping our beliefs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Think about the Cold War, all those new technologies popping up, U-2 spy planes, SR-71 Blackbirds.
Stuff that looks like it came from another planet.
Exactly. If you saw U-2 back then, you'd probably think it was a flying saucer.
I probably would. So a lot of these UAP sightings could just be secret government stuff.
Could be. And now we've got drones, satellites, all sorts of advanced tech that could be mistaken for UAPs.
Makes sense.
It's important to know what's actually up there, right?
So it's like a mix of real tech, pop culture, and the unknown.
Exactly.
Makes for a lot of confusion.
It does.
Okay, we've covered a lot here today.
We have.
From Project Blue Book to hidden alien tech to how our own minds might be playing tricks on us.
And we're just getting started.
That's right. In Part 2, we'll dig into what AARO says about what's causing all these UAP sightings and the belief in hidden technology.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned.
You know, one of the things that really struck me about this report is how it looks at the bigger picture of UAPs, like the cultural side of things.
Oh, right. Not just the sightings themselves.
Exactly. Like all the things that shape how we think about these events.
Okay, so what are some of the big factors they talk about?
Well, one is the whole international security landscape.
Security, right.
Like during the Cold War, everyone was so tense, worried about the enemy.
Always looking over their shoulder.
Right. Any weird thing in the sky, people thought, oh no, it's the Soviets.
Makes sense. Got to be on high alert.
Exactly. And, you know, even today, with China and Russia, it's kind of similar.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The competition is heating up again, and people see a UAP and they think, it's got to be some new weapon.
Right. So it's like that Cold War mindset is still kind of there.
In a way, yeah. But the report also talks about secrecy.
Secrecy. How does that play into it?
Well, governments, they have to keep some things secret, right? Especially military stuff.
Right, I get that.
But when you keep things secret, it creates this vacuum.
Oh, vacuum.
Yeah, like a void. And people fill that void with their own ideas.
Oh, so they make up their own explanation.
Exactly. And when it comes to UAPs, those explanations can get pretty wild.
Especially when you throw in all those alien movies and TV shows.
Oh, yeah. Pop culture plays a huge role. All those stories about spaceships and aliens.
It's hard not to think of that stuff when you see something weird in the sky.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the report also talks about the lack of good data.
Data. Yeah, that makes sense.
Even with all our fancy technology, a lot of UAP reports are still just glimpses or blurry pictures.
Hard to tell what's what.
Exactly, and that just adds to the mystery.
So we've got people who are primed to think about aliens, a government keeping secrets, and not enough solid information.
A recipe for conspiracy theories, right?
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
But is there anything to those theories? Does the report say the government might actually be hiding stuff?
Well, the report does say that secrecy can look like deception.
That's true.
There have been claims that the Air Force in particular was more focused on debunking UFOs than really investigating them.
Oh, really? Why would they do that?
Well, some people say it was to avoid panic or maybe to protect secret military programs.
So it's like, even if they were trying to cover something up, it might not have been aliens.
Exactly. Could have been something else entirely.
That's tricky, trying to figure out what's really going on.
It is, but that's why we need good science and critical thinking, like the report says.
So don't just jump to the alien conclusion right away.
Right, there's usually a more down-to-earth explanation, even if it takes some digging.
Okay, but what about those cases where there's no easy explanation? The ones that really make you wonder?
Those are the interesting ones, right? And the AARO report actually talks about a few of them.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, there's the Tic Tac incident.
The Tic Tac incident. Yeah, I've heard of that one.
2004, off the coast of California, Navy pilots saw this weird object shaped like a Tic Tac.
No kidding.
They tracked it on radar, got it on video, and it was doing things that shouldn't be possible.
Like what kind of things?
Moving super fast, changing direction instantly, no visible means of propulsion.
It sounds like something out of a movie.
It does, doesn't it? And AARO says that case, along with a few others, is a real mystery.
So they couldn't explain it.
Nope. Ruled out all the usual stuff, but still couldn't figure out what it was.
So there might be things out there that we just don't understand yet.
Could be. And that's what makes this so
It's a
fascinating.
little scary too, right? Like, what if we're not alone?
I know. It's exciting and a little unnerving at the same time.
Well, we've covered a lot here. The history, the claims, the science, and the mystery is still going strong.
It is. And in part 3, we'll talk about what AARO says about the future of UAP investigations.
Okay, so what can we expect going forward? What do they think we should do?
Stay tuned to find out.
All right, so we're back, and I'm still thinking about all this UAP stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It is. We've talked about the history, the crazy claims, the science, and it seems like we're no closer to solving the mystery.
True. But this AARO report, it does give us some direction, you know?
Yeah, what do they say about what's next for UAP investigations?
They're really pushing for better domain awareness.
Domain awareness.
It's about knowing what's going on in a specific area, like airspace, underwater, cyberspace, all of it.
So, like, if we know everything that's supposed to be there...
Right. Then anything unusual really stands out.
Makes sense. Like, back in the day, any plane could have been a UAP, right?
Exactly. But now we've got drones, satellites, all kinds of stuff flying around.
It's a crowded sky.
It is, and that's why domain awareness is so important, according to the report.
Okay, so better data, better understanding of what's out there.
Exactly.
What else do they recommend?
Standardized reporting, more data collection, and sticking to the science.
So basically, being more organized and scientific about it all.
Right, no more relying on just stories and blurry pictures.
But what about those UAPs that we just can't explain, even with all the data and science?
Well, the report acknowledges that some UAPs could be something totally new.
Something we've never seen before.
Exactly. It's exciting, right?
It is exciting. Like, there's still so much we don't know.
That's what keeps us looking up at the sky and wondering.
You know, one thing that gives me hope is that we're finally talking about this stuff openly.
Yeah, it's not all hush-hush anymore.
We're moving away from the secrecy and the stigma.
The AARO report is a good example of that.
It is. It's like they're saying, let's be transparent, let's work together, let's figure this out.
Exactly, and that's a good approach, I think.
So where do we go from here? What's the next step?
Keep researching, keep collecting data, and keep an open mind.
And maybe one day we'll finally have some answers.
Maybe, or maybe we'll just find more questions.
Either way, it's a pretty amazing journey, right?
It really is. The universe is full of surprises.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of UAPs. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have. Thanks for having me.
And to everyone listening, remember, keep those minds curious, keep those eyes on the skies, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to make the next big UAP discovery. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
I would've been on top of the charts, but it's politics. You do some gimmick shit and post, you get a lot of clicks. Drop some real shit and they probably won't acknowledge it.